In this video, let's take a look at the My Evaluations tab. The way you get there is from the dashboard. You scroll here on the left-hand side all the way down to My Evaluations. You click on My Evaluations and then you're taken to the main page. One of the things you'll notice is that there are 3 gray buttons right here, and let's click on the first one for just a minute, which is Self-Evaluation. One of the things about this gray button is when someone completes an evaluation regarding your performance, you'll be able to look here and view the information that has been completed by that person. So that's what is meant by the Self-Evaluation tab. You have a chance to look at the information yourself. Now, the second thing is when you have been assigned an evaluation, you're going to see that here in this bottom section. And if you want to, let's say, schedule a reminder, you have the due dates here and you want to put this on your Google Calendar, you can just click this button, Update Evaluations to Google Calendar. If you have your Google Calendar ID within the settings page, then everything will export to Google. If you have your settings set up to go to iCal, you can click on this little gray button here. It'll open up a file for you to double click on, and then basically it'll export everything into your Outlook calendar. So this is very, very helpful, especially as we get reminders on our phone for upcoming events. So you'll notice here below this table, it tells you who the evaluation is for. This is the module that has been assigned. This is a category. This is a session. Remember from our video regarding Manage Evaluation, it basically flows from module to category to session. The due date is the actual date the evaluation is due. And then the added by is basically the person who added this module and assigned it to you. The status is pending in this case, but you can see you have a completed status as well. Once that shows up as completed, you can sort by status. Now let's take the example of the spiritual gifts assessment. For an example, it's not due until August 14th, but we click here on the perform evaluation within the action column, and then that takes us to the actual evaluation. Now all this information has already been entered by the person who created the evaluation. You have the name of the module, you have the category, you have the session here. Notice the progression, module, category, session. You have the person being evaluated. Okay, that's you. And we have 2 separate identities here. Evaluated by, that would be yourself. In this case, you're actually evaluating yourself. And then here you have the relationship. Now, it says here, mark the box that best represents the person's performance for each statement. So you are evaluating someone else, and again, for our purposes here, we're just using the same information so we can access it quickly. But here, for an example, it would be something as simple as, okay, as I'm looking at this information, I speak up for what is biblically right, even when most people think I am narrow-minded and oppose my principles. Okay, so what you would write here is always, in this case, or you would write most of the time, sometimes, almost never. And basically you see how it totals here on the side depending on what you mark here. So as you're doing this, notice, you can scroll all the way to the bottom here, and then you'll start seeing a total score. And then you can also write some, let's say, some additional notes here at the end. Now this is a very long section here, but again, this is something that we can divide up with the sections to make things a little bit easier. Okay, so once all of this is completed, all you have to do is you come to the very bottom and you click on Submit Evaluation Form, and then that will update the system and notify everyone involved. Okay, so that's basically how you handle that information. So let's go back for a minute to the main page for people or for my evaluations, and you can see here that this date here, 6/28, has already passed. So you're not going to be able to go in and try to perform this evaluation. If you do, then you're going to get this message, you can't do this after the due date. So the one you have assigned to you now is the motivational gifts, the category, the session, and the module spiritual gifts assessment. That's the one you can click on. That's the one you can begin to mark up and then just continue all the way through. You'll get your total score here. And then as you complete the other sections, you'll see a total score per section. So this is a very simple way to look at the evaluations. It's also a very easy way to perform because, every time you log into the software, you can go to the My Evaluations, and then you can see here on the left-hand side, once you click on My Evaluations, what do you have to do by when. In this case, it has a first due date and a second due date, and you can do that and export to Google or iCal to remind you. So I hope this video has been helpful. Again, if you need to create an evaluation, then all you do is you go to People, and then People Evaluations, and then you can come here and select the Manage Evaluation module to add one, or add evaluation if you want to add people to existing evaluations.